All right, but how beautiful are the mountains of those who bring good news. It's like a Christmas card, right? Did any of you receive Christmas cards that had like some like wintry cabin in the woods and there's mountains behind it with pristine snowpack behind it and it says like Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or something like that? You know, like it's like how beautiful are the mountains of those who bring good news. As we talk about mountains, here in Florida, we have to drive a long way away, don't we? Like I don't have many gripes about Florida, especially when it's, 75 degrees outside right now? Like it's awesome, and we're about to go up to Atlanta, and Atlanta's not even really cold, but it's 40 degrees colder than it is here, you know, and we're about to go up there today, and we'll just watch that, the temperature just plummet as we go down. But but my one gripe is we don't have any mountains. Our biggest mountains are man-made trash heaps down here, right? Like that's our biggest mountains down here. You have Hobe Mountain, which that's pristine and majestic. You guys don't even know what Hobe Mountain is, do you? I've lived here, a year and a half, and I've been to Hobe Mountain. You guys need to go visit Hobe Mountain so you can see the majesticness of that. It's only an hour away. It's down to Hobe Sound. Look it up. It's the highest natural point in South Florida. And it's as glorious as you can imagine. But I had a friend, his name's Mark, this guy I write all my sermons with. But he used to live in Seattle. And we visited him, and it's unreal. You know, you can see these perfect, majestic mountains majesty from his backyard. We would walk out, I'm like, where do you live? Like look at this ridiculous sign of all these amazing mountains. And it just looks perfect. Look like a postcard in his background, just in his backyard. Or we would go over to a little beach, and it's this beautiful water inlet just covered by mountains all around it. And it was 5 minutes from his house. It's like, what is going on? But that's a good illustration of what we try to make into Christmas, right? Like we want to be like this. How beautiful are the mountains on the feet of those who bring good news. And when we think of these perfect mountains, and we want Christmas to be perfect. We do all this work trying to make it as perfect as possible. Just the right amount of little smokies, right? You want just the right amount of decoration and everything being perfect and wonderful so that any parties or anything can go over without a hitch. But there's a problem with it, right? When perfection is the goal, it usually kind of ends up falling apart, right? And then what happens outside of your control that really messes with the perfection? Like your sister Amy brings home her new boyfriend Kevin, and he's weird. Right, Kevin? He's really big into conspiracy theories and all that stuff, right? And it's just like, oh man, perfection of Christmas down the drain. And when I was talking to this sermon with Mark, he talked a lot about how when he was a senior in high school, his dad died of a heart attack. And he was reminiscing about all that his family did to make Christmas perfect, and his dad was part of so many of those memories. And he said for years he struggled with Christmas could never be as great as it was back then. It was the first year without it, and Christmas couldn't be wonderful anymore. And I personally haven't had a loss like that, but there's times when we just get wrapped up and we want the perfection of life, and we just think, oh, it would be so much better if this hadn't happened or this did happen. And I think Christmas Day is a great descriptor of what's going on, because we try to make everything perfect, and then what happens? Like all the movies tell us what happens. All the kids come running from downstairs, and they go straight for the presents, and then paper goes flying all through the air, right? of paper goes flying everywhere. Or then all the family shows up and everyone's bringing their casserole dishes and everyone's talking and having these great conversations. The speakers are making weird popping noises, and I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's the Christmas miracle. And but all these you think people are coming over, and then they all leave, right? And you're sitting on the couch, sipping some beverage. I don't know what it is. Sipping on some beverage. The dishes, you have a sink full of dirty dishes. There's a new, very red stain on the carpet that you're just now seeing. There's gift wrapping everywhere. Yeah, it's a disaster. It's a mess, right? And I think that's where we begin to see the heart of Christmas. That the heart of Christmas wasn't so much at the beginning where we were trying to make it perfect. The heart of Christmas is the mess afterwards. Is the mess afterwards that we begin to really understand what Christmas is all about. Because if God was so interested in perfection, He would have been born in Jerusalem or, I don't know, somewhere else besides in a Jewish state, in the back of someone's house, with a baby put in a manger, with dirty, nasty, outcast shepherds bowing down and worshiping this Lord. If perfection was really what He wanted, He wouldn't have been born in such a mess. And I think as we reflect at the end of the Christmas party, or after the kids have ripped open all of the paper and everything is just a mess, and you're reflecting back on it, and the house may be all a mess, but you remember that you have a mind full of new Christmas memories, and you're just like Mary just a bit. That you remember everything that has gone after. And it's beautiful. And that's what we see in our Isaiah passage. So we have that part where it says, how beautiful are the mountains, how beautiful and majestic, and everything's great. But the very next verse here, it says, break forth together in singing, you waste places of Jerusalem. God knows what's going on. He knows that it's all a mess. But He goes, for the Lord has comforted His people, and He has redeemed Jerusalem. He has comforted His people in the midst of their mess and has redeemed us. So as we sit, and maybe our house is a wreck right now, maybe your house is just fine. But as we sit, and maybe your faith life is a wreck right now, maybe it's just fine. Maybe your life is just a wreck right now, or maybe it's fine. God is coming into all of that. And He was born into the mess and the imperfections so that we might all be redeemed and know Him. And I think that's what Christmas is really all about. Be blessed because Christ has come into your mess. Amen.